Okay, so I have a question. Who has time to stress when you live in a planet of free will? I'm going to restate that one more time because I know it went over your head. Why would I stress on a planet of free will? I adjusted the question for you. So, if you had a moment to think about it, then you would have arrived with your answer. Here's my answer. Nobody has time to live on a planet of free will and stress about the people who live on a planet of free will. I hope you understand what I'm saying, because living on a planet of free will means that we are able to make the decisions and choices upon our heart's desires. And we are given the blessings or the consequences of those decisions. And the decisions are followed by actions. And so when you're talking about making a decision, right? Free will, you could think about whatever you want to think about, honey. Oh, you could think about all the insidious things you want to, or you could think about all the fairy tale things that you want to. Or you could think about all the truths, your truths, right? Because your truth and your experience, that's your lessons. But those are your truths also. And nobody can say, oh, that didn't happen to you, or gaslight you in any sort of way. You know what you know. Now the question is, did you learn the lesson though? Because once you learn the lesson, then you are faced with the same thing that you were made once again with the decision to make. And the actions moving forward are going to be based from those decisions that you made in your mental. So we're looking at thoughts and actions as one of the key factors here when we're talking about transformation. So let's take it on a health fitness. And I'll redirect it back because I want to talk about fitness. If I'm coaching you through transformation, you may be expecting me to transform your body. But that's what a physical fitness coach does. They transform your body. Now, that's different from what I do. From my perspective, if you don't develop the habit or the mindset to sustain a healthy lifestyle, hiring that physical fitness trainer to get your body in shape and then throwing down your throat or shoving down your throat a diet plan for you to follow that you never ever considered. So now your body's going through an intense transformation, but that's what you signed up for. You know what I'm saying? You wanted the fast and convenient way. And the fast and convenient way is not going to be easy. You're going to have to do them squats. You're going to have to go for that run. I said run, not walk. You're going to have to put in that work, and then you're going to have to eat them salads. You're going to have to cut them carbs. You're going to have to do a whole bunch of stuff at one time with that physical fitness coach, but the physical fitness coach is going to handle the physical. You understand? Where I come in is I'm handling the mental. And then we're training ourselves to be disciplined so that now, when you go to the point, after you do 90 days with me, there's a transformation. You have completely transformed your lifestyle after 90 days with me. You would have transformed your mindset just listening to one lesson. So my point is, that the transformation I focus on is a transformation from your mind and transforming the habits. Now, going back to the beginning part, because we're tying this into the stress, right? Who has time to stress on a planet of free will? Now, we live on a planet of free will where everybody gets to make their own decisions. You make your own decisions. Is every decision we make a perfect decision? No. There were some lessons that had to be learned along the way. But when we learned those lessons, life became a little easier. You get what I mean? Because we didn't have to face that problem once again, because we learned the lesson from it. So when it comes down to people being free to make their own decisions and being free to make their own mistakes, every decision may not be good, but if you use some discernment, they can be good. You get what I mean? But why are you stressing about the next person? Oh, because they did something to you? And depending on what it is, right? To a child, somebody hitting you makes me upset. You get what I mean? Like, there's a level of understanding that needs to be had, but it's not so easy having a level of understanding when it comes down to somebody hitting you and your arm hurts. So now going back to the lesson with living on a planet of free will, where people are making their decisions, right? You make your decisions too. And in that case, when it comes down to the person, the kid, I would tell that kid, stop hanging around that crew that's putting their hands on you. That's one. Don't laugh with them. Don't joke with them. But let's think about on the adult level. The adults rarely have a problem with the hitting. It's other things. The mind games. Oh, the mind games. Yes. So even then, people can make their own decisions. Why are you taking on that stress? Oh, because they did it to you. Okay. So let's take some lessons that we've learned. Battling somebody with anger, matching anger, is only producing more anger. Is the person wrong? Yes, absolutely. But you're not the judge. You forgot? You are the child of our Heavenly Father. You are not the disciplinary. Sit down. Let karma deal with that. You receive your karma based off of how you respond. And guess what? I'd rather respond with peace and harmony. I'd rather respond with not caring at all about the other side. If anything, I would view them as the citizens of Sodom and Gomorrah. And when I turned around and walked away, I will not look back. Because I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will not put myself into the situation of turning myself into a pillar of salt just because I turned around to look at your behind crying. Why? Because you getting whooped. You getting disciplined. Not everybody takes too kindly to the disciplinary actions of the physical, which I am in agreement of. But in metaphor and speaking, if you're receiving some karma on a negative end, your spirit is taking it. You get what I mean? Your spirit man is taking it. And in the physical, you get in the whiplashes of all that. But if you know, you know. If you don't know, I hope you don't ever know, okay? Don't ever get called up to the room and the Heavenly Father tells you close the door. It could be a good thing or it could be tighten up thing. But anywho, so you can't take on the burdens of somebody else's stress. Everybody's making their decisions on their own. So, whose decisions do you think matter the most in your life? It's your decisions. It's yours. Because you know what life you want to live. You know what life you want to live. So every action and step that you take should be towards that direction. Now, keep in mind, if you've learned the lesson, you learned the lesson. If you haven't learned the lessons, then prepare to go through some experiences to teach you some lessons so that you can gain that wisdom. See, when you ask for and pray for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, there's a certain clause to that, because you're going to have to go through some experiences in order to gain the lesson. And from the lessons, you gain the wisdom. If you understood the lesson, right? You can go through the lesson and say, I hated that lesson. And then you'll go and end up right into the same situation all over again because you still didn't learn a lesson about it. But the more experienced you are, the better knowledge, wisdom, and understanding you have. AKA, for those who are life coaches out there, we're all life coaches at heart, okay? Because you're teaching through your experiences. So, should we stress in a world that is free of liberty, free of life, free of happiness? We make our own decisions. We go off of free will. And some physicists may argue about free will because some say it's not given and some say it is. Well, apparently I'm preaching that we do have free will because we do have choices. We make decisions all the time. We choose what we want to eat. We choose whether we want it or not. If we didn't have free will, we'll eat everything that was just given to us, even poison. But there are some lessons, there's some teachings, there's wisdom in all of that. And we have free will. That's what the side I'm on, free will. But there could be some things, the argument was that there could be some things like a tumor in the brain that could hinder your decision-making blockers or the neurons that prohibit you from doing such things. So you end up doing things that is part of the dominant side of the brain that is not affected by the tumor. But now keep in mind, that's treading into the territory of studying sociopaths or serial killers, because those are some of the symptoms that they find out later on, that there were some tumors that were prohibiting certain parts of the brain that's supposed to function or release certain chemicals or release some key things that affect your emotions or affect your decisions. They found that some of the subjects that they studied and did autopsies on had brain tumors. So that's one thing. That's one way of arguing that we may not always have free will in those cases. But for, let's say, the norm, the majority, we choose everything on a daily basis. So when it comes down to making the decisions and what we choose, you can choose to be in stress or you can choose to let it go. Why would I let it go? You let it go because you have understanding that life is orchestrating in your favor. Who is the one that is co-creating the situation? It's you. It starts with your mind and your thoughts. So think of it this way. It takes 17 seconds for a thought to generate into some form of energy. That energy could then generate into something of physical. 17 seconds to ponder on a thought long enough for it to become an energy. What is energy? Energy is heat. Energy is electricity. So you take your thought generated that electrical spark in the atmosphere. That's energy that is now attracting other energy that is like it. And who was the creator of it? You. Now, I'm speaking on it on a negative end, but on the positive end, this is how you manifest all the time. You think about something long enough, ponder on it, then you meditate on it, then you begin to pray on it. See, now you put an action into it. Maybe you don't pray into it. Maybe you wrote it down in a journal. You're putting it into action, though. You see? You only reinforce the thought. The thought was an idea. The idea turned into a plan or an investment. And then you pursue. So let's go back to with the health and wellness, because we're focusing back on the mindset and the habits. I'm teaching you with that little mini lesson. 1, to be mindful of what you're thinking about. Because what you're thinking about is the conductor of your world. That's how your world is going to function. If you are thinking about crazy things, your world is going to seem crazy around you. However that is. You think about a circus. You stay thinking about a circus. How does that manifest in real time? You might just see an advertisement for the circus. Boom. It manifested itself into real time. What you thought about popped up right on the TV or the phone because you're calling it in. And that's without using the search engine to search up for a circus. I'm talking about you thinking about it, and next thing you know, you hear about it. It may pop up on the radio that a circus is in town. Something so synchronistic and that it was meant for you to hear it. Why? Because you were the one that was thinking about it. So simple as that, easy as that. You can manifest things into reality. So now back into the negative end. Stop thinking the negativity in your mindset. You have to speak life and positivity into yourself so you could be that beaming energy to attract other things that will bring you more life. I am so grateful and thankful for that opportunity to share with you the lesson of a question that I was just pondering on. And I hope that the message and the lessons that I was able to teach you in just that short period of time was enough to get you to be mindful about what you're thinking about. And if you are interested in knowing more about some of the programs and services that Omega Alpha organization offers, then come on in, join the club. Once you register for the club, you'll have access to the group. You'll have access to the worksheets. You'll have access to the other videos that are tied into lessons so that you can, one, get a feel for me of your future coach, and two, you get a little feel of the type of lessons on what I talk about. What I talk about, it touches deep. You get what I mean? Like, it touches deep. And that's what my aim is to touch you to your soul. That's who I'm speaking to. Speaking to your spirit. You hear me? I know you hear me. The ego may have some issues with what I'm saying, but I know your spirit hears me. And your spirit will decipher and tell you on another end what I really meant if you misunderstood me. Right? Your spirit, I speak to your spirit so your spirit can translate it to you in a way that your ego could understand. But I am so thankful and grateful that even where I am now in my journey, I see the transformation already. I already see the transformation. And that's me taking a pause and appreciating the present moment. Because always looking towards the future is there, but it's not there yet. You're walking in it, but enjoy the present moment. Enjoy the journey to getting to those goals. That should be exciting right there. So enjoy life. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Until then, much love and peace. And I will catch you in the next episode.